Yep. All right, and Sarge sent me the ping. So players, I'm going to deafen you. Best of luck. Ian hosts this one. Yeah, Ian hosts this one. Friendly reminder, devices in landscape mode, host skips turn 0, and players, best of luck. We're ready to go. I'm going to deafen you, so have at it. All right, so let's remind ourselves the stakes of this game. If Ian wins this game, Arthur wins the division. If Scree wins this game, there's going to need to be a tiebreaker. All right, Ian has gone in, done the turn 0 host skip. Friendly reminder, this is a Cymanti mirror game. Oh boy, I'm having trouble loading Scree's stream. That is unfortunate. Well, it is back to Ian. I guess I'll just watch it from his end. The players are going to find each other eventually. And he opts to build Fungus and a Warrior. Probably going to see him boost that next turn. Let's see if Scree's stream is cooperating. It is! Excellent. All right, looks like Scree went for Fungus on turn 0. Very solid choice for Cymanti. And he's going to think, do I want the Explorer or do I want the Workshop? He opts for the Explorer, hoping to... Oh, wow, that is extremely unlucky mountain placement. He does have good vision over the western corner, but wow, he certainly could have gotten luckier with that Explorer. But at the very least, he does now have an idea, a rough idea of where his enemy is. So he needs to keep that in mind as he wonders what he wants to do with his Shaman. Because like I said, last game we saw, the Shaman is the bread and butter of the Cymanti military. Ooh, and Ian has met Scree with the Explorer and has vision on the Shaman. Can't quite move up to hit the Shaman, unfortunately, for Ian. But he is going to opt to boost the Warrior anyway. I'm willing to bet. But he does know that if Scree has Riders, he could hit the Shaman. And we can see him playing a bit more conservatively with that Shaman, moving it back, moving it into a safer position. All right, and we see that Ian has researched Riders of his own. So this game is about to get pretty spicy here. We see Scree was checking the scoreboard, probably trying to see if he got that riding, which is absolutely terrifying. Once Cymanti has hexapods, he has a boosted warrior, opts to move it up, discovers a village. And what are we going to see him do with the Shaman? He knows he needs to keep that Shaman safe. He knows that there's a chance that it's close to hostile territory. He has 3 stars to spend still. So the question remains, what is he going to do to get the biggest bang for his buck? Spending a bit of time to think, opting for... Looks like he's going to spawn a warrior. Yes, he is. He opts to spawn the warrior, and then is he going to move the Shaman back to protect it? Or is he going to use it to boost? What are we going to see Scree do? Because I'm sure the pressure is weighing on him. He knows he needs to win this in order to have a shot at winning the division. Otherwise, it goes to Arthur. So he's got to think, I need to keep this Shaman alive. What am I going to do with it? Spending a lot of time on turn 2. We see him tapping in the fog. He knows that the capital is either in the east or in the west. So is he going to risk the biscuit, leave the Shaman there? He is. He's risking the biscuit, leaving the Shaman exposed. Which I believe... No, Ian cannot boost that hexapod quite yet. But what are we going to see him do? He has 3 stars. He has the Shaman up still. Has vision on both a ruin and on a village. Uses the hexapod to attack the boosted warrior to take away the boost. Boosts his warrior. Moves the rider back for vision. Now has vision on Scree's capital. And the question remains, what's he going to do with the warrior? He's got to think here. He wants to make sure that warrior gets the biggest bang for his buck. Okay, and is he going to kill the warrior? Is he going to kill off the warrior? No, he's not. Very smart decision, because these Shamans can also work as mind benders. And if he did that, he would just be giving Scree a free warrior, which is probably not the best thing to do. All right, so this is certainly a worrying screen to be looking at for Scree, because he's effectively at the moment limited to just his capital. He would need to research climbing to get past that just absolutely massive, expansive mountains to get a second village. He knows that Ian is extremely close by, has a shaman, has hexapods. So he needs to think of what he needs to do in order to keep his shaman safe and to put units between the shaman and the incoming horde of hexapods that are inevitably going to be raining down on him. He's taking quite a bit of time to think. He only has 4 stars, so he can't level up that capital quite yet. Taking a lot of time to think. Moves the warrior for a bit of vision towards the center. It is at 2 health, so he could very easily finish off that hexapod right now. Instead opts to suicide it onto the warrior and kill the hexapod with his boosted warrior and build a hexapod of his own on the capital. Now, is he going to leave that shaman there? Because I'm willing to bet he knows that leaving it right there is pretty dangerous. So yes, he does in fact move it back. Smart decision, I would say. As I said with the last game, and I'll say it again, the shaman is the bread and butter of Symante's military capabilities. You need to keep it safe at all costs. All right, we see Ian's moved in with the warrior. Moves his shaman back to the capital, and I'm willing to bet he's going to now spawn a hexapod that he's hoping to boost next turn. Ian probably has his sights set on taking down that shaman. And Skree, at this point, kind of trying to hope to stay alive because he sees that he doesn't have a lot of room to expand. So what are we going to see him do here? Moves in with the hexapod. Ooh, and there we go. Managing to find a route around those mountains to expand to a second village. This certainly just got a lot more favorable for Skree right now. Being the player who now is on a second village, which Ian unfortunately hasn't been able to step on. And he did build fungus, so he is going to level up his capital next turn. And is he going to boost his warrior to have it sit on the village? He probably knows that there's a hexapod out there in the fog waiting for that warrior to step on that village. And if that warrior dies on that village, there's not really going to be anybody to help it out. Not really going to be anybody to reinforce it. So we see Skree taking quite a bit of time to think, being very methodical in how he moves his units. And what are we going to see him do? Checking the scoreboard, trying to get an idea of what Ian might be hiding out there in the fog from him. Sees that the scores are very close, so probably Ian's in a similar position to him, he's thinking. Tapping the fog, he has a pretty good idea of where that capital is. So what's he going to do? Looking at... Okay, he opts to boost the warrior and step on the village. I would say that's probably a bit of a risky play, particularly since he knows that there are hexapods out there. All hexapod singular, but still plenty scary, even if they're singular. Opts to kill. And is he going to leave the hexapod on that village? It's safe for him to do it, and he can see that because he knows that there's nothing on that capital there from Skree. So he opts to spawn a second hexapod, and it looks like he's going to be able to take that village, which is good news for Ian. Both players now very securely going to be able to hold on to a second village. Looks like we got resources on the capital from Skree. And he's thinking, he has 8 stars. Does he want to opt for some research now before he caps that village? Because once he caps that village, that research is going to get more expensive. No research. Opts instead to capture, place down some fungus, and I think we're going to see him spawn a hexapod here, most likely. Or a warrior. Which is it going to be, Skree? He's thinking. Does he want to get the defense from the warrior or the offense from the hexapod? Opting for the defense from the warrior, and he's going to use the shaman to boost, or is he going to move the shaman back to an even safer position? It wouldn't be a bad idea, because like I said, that shaman, once you lose it, you might as well just resign. Because that shaman is so crucial to making Symante good. So what's he going to do? What's the plan, Skree? Where are you going to move that shaman? He's looking around, trying to gauge the threat. Trying to gauge what's the likelihood that he's going to send another hexapod in here and just nuke my shaman in the face. still has a very good idea of where that capital is, as we can tell from the poking in the fog. Oh, and I would like to point out, I have some wisdom coming in the DMs from Cora. Thank you, Cora. The hexapod does not need to be boosted to kill the shaman. So that is important to keep in mind. However, it would probably need to be boosted in order to be able to actually reach the shaman. Oh, he moves the shaman up, which is interesting. And Ian sieging Arthur there. Ian sieging Skree there in the center. And I don't think Skree can do anything to stop that. That is very concerning for Skree, particularly since, like I said earlier, he doesn't really have a way to expand to another village after that. All right, we see Ian capping that village, spawning another hexapod on the capital, and we need to see now how is Skree going to respond. He gets the level up and opts for the Explorer, going to make that village a bit less useful there for Ian. Has complete and total vision over Ian. So that's good. He knows exactly where the shaman is. He knows exactly where the hexapods are. And quite frankly, that revealed very frightening vision for Skree because he now knows that Ian has the ability to kill that shaman very easily with his hexapod there on the capital. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it, folks. This is looking bad for Skree. He's taking time. He realizes that he's in quite a bit of a pickle right now. He's got to think. His priorities are he needs to get another village ASAP, because otherwise it's going to be 3+ villages against a capital, which is never really a favorable position to be in, and he wants to make sure he doesn't lose that shaman. So what's he going to do? He could boost that warrior and siege down that city, but he would lose it the next turn, I think. I'm not good with mental math with Szymanti boosts. See him thinking. What's he opting for? He goes for the boost, kills the hexapod, and spawns another hexapod of his own. I think he's banking on the fact that Ian's going to try and take that city back ASAP. And we see Ian boosting that hexapod. And he opts to kick kick Skree off of the village. And takes Skree's second city away from him. That is certainly going to be a painful thing for Skree to deal with. Because right now, it is 3 cities against just 1. And that is never a position that you want to be in. And unfortunately, Skree doesn't really have a way to get out of that position because of that huge mountain range that's preventing him from expanding out into the western part of the map. And so we got to see. He needs to think about what he needs to do here. He sees that there's the hexapods up. He sees that there is the shaman still around. If he could find a way to get rid of Ian's shaman, he might still have a fighting chance at this. But so long as that shaman is around, Skree's life is going to be an absolute nightmare. We see him taking the time to think. What is he going to do? All he has is a shaman and a hexapod, standing there holding the line. Proud for the blue Szymanti. Looking very bleak and dire. But they will stand tall, and they will stand strong. Because at the very least, Skree is going to put up a fight. Because he knows that otherwise, Arthur just gets the bracket. So he does manage to get a siege of the central city using the movement bonus from the boost on that hexapod. And I think we're going to see it move further out to the west. Because otherwise, Skree's not going to have any hope of ever getting another village after that. He could leave it there to siege and damage Ian's economy. Or he could bounce it off to the west or the northwest to try and get a second village. Because Skree's no dummy. He knows that he's looking to be against 3+ cities on just his capital. So is he going to opt to hurt Ian's economy with that siege that can be easily broken there by Ian? Or is he going to bounce off and try and desperately expand beyond that mountain range? Taking time to think, he's weighing the pros and cons, wants to make sure he makes the best decision in order to stay alive as long as possible and live to fight another day. Man, that is a tough decision. If I were in his boots, I'd probably want to opt for the movement. He opts to keep up the siege. Honestly, probably a pretty smart idea because that's going to force Ian to not focus a hexapod on the shaman, which absolutely is super smart thing to do since, as I've said over and over and over again, you need that shaman to stay alive as Simanti. We see more hexapods being spawned there by Ian. All right. This is starting to look grimmer and grimmer and grimmer for Scree. Just so many hexapods. 1, 2, 3, 5 hexapods. All well within range, or most well within range of that shaman. Scree only on his capital. He needs to think, I gotta find a way to answer these hexapods. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to answer that many. Sure, he was able to come up with answers, come up with cheeky ideas for when Ian had, a couple of these hexapods. But now that he has, 5 hexapods there on the map, Arthur's going to have a pretty hard time answering that. Or I'm sorry, not Arthur, Scree. That is my fault. You can blame me for mixing up our all-star players. All right, sends the hexapod forward, sieges the city. He's doing that to give Ian targets that are not his shaman to attack with those hexapods. Since, as Cora pointed out to me, the hexapod doesn't even need to be boosted to kill that shaman. Scree's looking at the tech tree, trying to look for an answer. Living on a prayer, as Bon Jovi would say. Trying to see if he can find a way out. Find an answer to these 4 hexapods that are well within range of the shaman and his capital. Sure, that siege is going to have to divert some of Ian's attention. He spawns the warrior, opting for the defense bonus, and he moves back the shaman. Excellently played by Scree. He knows that he needs that shaman alive in order to have a hope at keeping this game up. Now, there are so many hexapods on Ian's side that he might be able to siege this turn. He breaks the siege in the east. Let's see, he moves the hexapod forward. And we see him boost to these 2 hexapods, which should give them the range to, almost within range to reach that capital. So he needs to move them in such a way that they are able to stay out of range of the warrior. Or just move them right in range of the warrior, that works too. Probably hoping to block it from moving sort of into that center there. Ian looking at the tech tree. He knows he has the upper hand. And is he going to send that hexapod to the center? He is going to send it to the center. He's not going to use it to expand out towards the west. I'm not sure Ian knows just how open the west is. Because as it stands right now, the west is completely free for the taking for him. Ian doing an amazing job this game of keeping Scree on the defensive. Now, with all of these hexapods so close to Scree, he knows that at least one of them is probably now going to be able to break through and get to that shaman. Opening the menu, and I think this is it. Is he going to resign? I think we are seeing him resign. Nope, we are seeing him open up. He was very strongly considering it. Yeah, not going to lie, folks. We're seeing Scree right here sort of realizing the hopelessness of the situation. Because once you see that many hexapods that close to your capital, that close to your shaman, there's not really a whole lot you can do. Moves the shaman forward. I think he's given up. I think he's given up. He's just given up the shaman. Opts to kill the hexapod for what it's worth, but now that shaman is right there, right next to those 3 hexapods, it's donezo. It's gone. Yeah, I think Scree's given up. Because now that is 4 hexapods within range of the capital. And I think we are about to see him go in and go ham. kills the shaman with an unboosted hexapod, goes for exploring for what it's worth, gets off a capital siege, promotes to a veteran, kills the other warrior, and that is it. It is over. Skree's only city is on fire. All of his units are dead. It's over. That's GG. There is not a single thing right now that Skree can do to come back from that. Shaman's dead. All the units are dead. The capital's on fire. That's it. That was extremely well played by Ian. Stayed on the offensive 100% of the time in this game. Giving giving Skree zero room to breathe. Forcing him to be on the defensive. It's done. He's hunting, but at this point, he's just trying to delay the inevitable. 0 stars a turn, no units, capitals on fire. That's it. Passes to Ian. Ian's going to go ahead and cap that capital. And that's it. GG's. Game is over. Let's unmute, undeafen our players. That is it. Ian wins. This means Arthur gets the bracket, yeah? GG. Very wonderfully played, both of our players. Skree, Ian, excellently played, the both of you. Any comments for our players back home?
Not really. Good game to everybody in our bracket. It was a tough bracket. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And I enjoyed playing all three of them.
Absolutely. Skree, anything you want to give? Anything you want to say to our viewers back at home? That was wonderfully played, both of you. You both did an amazing job. Arthur wins the division. He's going to move on to the semis, and yeah, that was wonderfully played by Ian. Skree did a good job of staying alive. But unless our players have anything to say, I see that there was quite a bit of Ronin hype there in chat. With that, players, thank you for playing.
I would just like to describe my thought process during this game.
Please do, to our dear viewers, before we call it quits for the night. All right. I don't think your mic picked it up, but he said he wanted to describe his thought process, and we could hear the dial-up noise in the background. All right. Either way, all seriousness, players, thank you for playing. Congratulations to Arthur for winning the division. Congratulations to Ian for defending Ronin's honor. Viewers, thank you for tuning in. We had a lovely night tonight. 4 amazing, wonderful games. And with that, that is the division over. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to our players. Thank you to our viewers. And with that, good night to all of you. And we hope to see you next time here. The next time we have the semifinals here on Blitz Live. Ciao and ciao. Thank you, everybody in chat saying thanks. And y'all sleep well tonight.